I'm your host, Eric Eisenberg. Welcome to Hero Blend number 16. This week we got our first look at the brand new Gotham television series, so watch the trailer and stay tuned for a great conversation.
I love this city, and I see it going to hell. Sometimes I think this place is cursed. But I won't let it fall apart without a fight.
Citizens of Gotham, we will not, we cannot let these killers and these robbers and these rapists and these thugs win. Not on my watch.
There is a war coming. A terrible war. There will be chaos. Rivers of blood in the streets, I know it.
It's my new partner, Jim Gordon.
You have a little danger in your eye. I wonder what you plan to do with that.
You killed people before? That was war.
This is war. We're at war.
What's your name?
My name's Bruce Wayne.
I promise you, I will find the man who did this.
I'm learning to conquer fear.
Fear doesn't need conquering. Fear tells you where the edge is.
Somebody has to take over. It might as well be me.
Gotham is on a knife edge.
This is not a city for nice guys.
However dark and scary the world might be right now, there will be light. There will be light. Bruce.
Welcome back, everyone. I am joined this week by Germain Lussier from Slash Film. How's it going, bud?
I'm good, Eric. How are you, buddy?
I'm great. As you guys just saw earlier, we are covering the brand new trailer for Gotham that just landed earlier this week, which is, of course, we're seeing a lot of comic books come to TV these days. I mean, you have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you have Arrow, you have Constantine, and now Gotham is going to be coming in the fall. First off, I'm curious, how much superhero stuff do you actually watch on TV, personally?
Nothing. I gave the pilot of Arrow a shot, and I did not like it.
Okay.
I heard it's gotten better.
It has.
I gave the pilot of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. the shot. Was like kind of interested, and then just didn't care.
Okay.
But now it's weird. Every week, I sort of come home from a screening or some event on Tuesday nights at about 8:55. Yeah. So I catch the last 5 minutes of S.H.I.E.L.D., and every time I'm like, oh, is this going to go into Ultron? No.
Hey, man, honestly, the stuff recently has been kind of getting there.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. And it'll probably get picked up for a second season.
Sure.
So not really that much. But I love the idea of it.
Yeah.
But it seems like DC, you know, what they're doing with Arrow and whatever, like, is not going to tie into the movies like S.H.I.E.L.D.
No,
right?
that's true, which is unfortunate. But I mean, obviously, it seems like first impressions mean a lot for you, having watched these pilots and then kind of looking at the show from that. So, what is kind of your first impression of Gotham? Like, what did you think of the look?
I really like the look.
Yeah.
And I was excited for it. I like the idea of it as a whole. The first idea of it. I have other thoughts on it since I've seen the trailer. I love the first idea of it, of like, let's tell the story of this cop set against the Batman backdrop.
Sure.
Ben McKenzie. I've been a fan since the OC.
Yeah, he's a talented young guy, and I think he fits the role of James Gordon really well.
Yeah.
No mustache yet, but
yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call myself a Donald Logue fan, but I like him.
I like Donald Logue a lot, and frankly, he just looks Harvey Bullock, man. He looks the part.
Yeah, he looks gritty detective, right? And so, and I thought the trailer, like from the look of it, was great. It sort of mixed it was sort of the Christopher Nolan real dark and gritty, but a little bit more influence with the Burton stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So I thought it brought those two things. It reminded me, and the way they set up the trailer is, this is just a cop show. It's just a cop show. You know, you've seen cop shows, Law and Order, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, Bruce Wayne. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh wait, it's a comic book cop show.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
love that about it. So those are the things I did like about it.
And I will say, I mean, one thing that I'm particularly appreciative of is it actually seems to be going back to the comics a little bit. Like, it takes kind of a little bit of elements from Batman Year One, kind of from the Gotham Central comics, and it's bringing it together in an interesting way, though I am curious about how it's kind of going to move forward
Yeah,
with that
it's just,
format.
that, I mean, that's what, I mean, that's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'm more of a comic fan from the movies than the other way around, like you are. But it's like, does Commissioner Gordon always have a real formative
He's very
influence?
he's a very straight line.
No, what I'm saying, but does he always have a formative influence on Bruce Wayne's development?
See, that's actually something that I do think is going to be very interesting. Is
Okay.
that I mean, we've seen in certain incarnations that James Gordon has, like, I mean, he's investigating the murder of Bruce Wayne's parents.
Yeah.
But I'm curious if the show is going to have it so that he's kind of a mentor for Bruce Wayne, which I'm not, as a Batman fan, I'm not 100% sure on just yet. I mean, do you think that would be kind of a takeaway?
Yeah, I think sort of what's great about Batman is that he sort of develops sort of a lot of it on his own. And he sort of has his own worldview.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, if he has this, like, you know, and he has Alfred who's sort of insulated.
Of course.
But
he's very much on his alone by himself on that hill for the most part.
If his like one of his mentors was like a police detective, that's going to give him a very, very, and he's the world's greatest detective, obviously. So then we can sort of see some of that. I kind of like that a little bit. You know, he could learn some stuff there, but I don't know if I want him to have this sort of view of the law. Though you do get from this trailer that you get a couple things where they say, oh, you killed people, this and that. So you get that he's sort of like a Batman, where he's like, I'm a vigilante detective.
Yeah, he's taking care of business. He may even have like a military background, which could kind of explain it. One thing though, and it's kind of bridging off that, is that this show is introducing Batman's like some supervillains. I mean, we saw in the trailer, we've seen Poison Ivy, Riddler,
we saw
Penguin.
them all.
We saw them all.
Except for the Joker.
Except for the Joker, which we've heard that he is coming. But it's weird that in most incarnations of Batman, you see Batman kind of influencing that kind of escalation of like over-the-top crime, while this show is going to have it kind of independently. And I'm curious how that's going to work.
Or does it? Because like that's the thing that's worried about me about the trailer is that I like the Bruce Wayne, Jim Gordon thing. Yeah. I don't like that it's like, before Penguin, before... Why do they all have to be there? It's like...
Well, because they don't have Batman.
Right, exactly. So, but the kids aren't going to be super villains. It looks like Penguin might a little bit, you know, Cobblepot, but it just... I was like, I don't want to see... If we're going to see an origin show for one of them, great. If you want to see an origin show for Bruce Wayne told through Commissioner Gordon, great. But don't, like, throw all these things out here, like Catwoman's breaking into buildings, Poison Ivy's playing with plants. We get it. Like, it's just... I just, like, I don't like that they're selling the show like that. I'm pretty... Like, you're 99% sure, like, every episode's not going to have every single one of those characters.
Yeah.
They're going to sort of...
kind of serialize it out. And,
pop them here and there. And and it seems like Jada Pinkett Smith's character would be the overall villain.
Yeah, it looks like she's going to be playing that role. I'm actually not 100% convinced there. I mean, I don't know if it's partially the look of the character or it's Jada Pinkett Smith has never been.
But I like that but I like that she's the villain as opposed to friggin' Riddler.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's a more reasonable villain for if you're going to have a James Gordon-centered show. Though I am curious, just kind of looking at the overarching show. I mentioned the Gotham Central comics, which it was very similar to this structure in that you had kind of the focus on the Gotham Central Police Department, while you had Batman occasionally coming in. You're not going to have that here, so. One thing that people have been complaining about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. up until this point is that you don't have many characters from the comics and not having that Batman influence. Do you think that, I mean, obviously the villains are going to kind of step in there, but do you think that the show's going to be able to kind of sustain itself just from the James Gordon level?
I think it can. I mean, think how many cop shows are there out there? I mean,
true.
The cops are flying over right now. But it's like, there's so many cop shows that can sustain, and if you tell the story of this cop and his sort of morality, and if you focus it on that, you can just sprinkle in the superhero stuff or the origin stuff. I don't want any superhero stuff on this show. You know, because another thing about Batman, at least that we led to believe, is that sort of, you know, his sort of development as a symbol, or at least the Nolan movie suggests this, that sort of influences the villains too, that they sort of escalate with him.
Yeah, exactly.
And so to see that it looks like they're developing independently as he is doesn't quite mesh, and it seems like it would take the focus way too much away from Gordon and his partner and Gordon's relationship with this kid he's investigating.
And I think also you have to take into account the city. Like, I mean, Gotham is something that's the city of Gotham is going to be something that separates itself from most other detective shows. This is New York. It's something very different. I mean, we saw in the skyline at the end of the trailer, kind of the dirigibles and Gotham blimps hanging up in the air, which I think is really cool. And if you add those kind of extra style points to it, I think it could turn out to be something really cool.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a show I'm definitely gonna give a shot.
Yeah,
but it's gotta wow me with those pilots. I mean, I know there's so many shows that they say it got better after the pilot, but the pilot should be the best episode of the show. It should be the
representative. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at some of the great shows of all time, not all of them, but if you look at Sopranos, right? The pilot is so good.
Yeah.
You're like, I need to see more of it. And that should be what a pilot is. And so I'm hoping that the Gotham pilot is that, Sure. We'll find out in a couple months.
Yep.
And I think it has the potential.
Yeah.
I think there are definitely some question marks.
Sorry?
The look is good.
It's the Riddler, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's got a lot of riddles.
Yeah. I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot more of it coming in the next couple of months. It's going to be coming out in the fall. Jermaine, thanks so much for coming on the show with me this week.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Until next week.